it's me, Jody Hand, Mrs. Hand Painted, and today's video is one of a series of 8 paintings that you can do, some mini landscapes. I'm going to show you how to do each one of these in one of the 8 videos that I'm sharing with you. All of the videos are separate, so this video will only show one of the paintings. I'll be doing painting number 6. You can do this on one 9 by 12 sheet of paper. I have this set up to do 8 different paintings that are all 2.5 inches by 3.75 inches. So you can also do them on these small little pads from Legion Paper Stonehenge. You can get these from lots of different retailers, but I purchased mine from Jerry's Artorama, and they have them in their buy it try it deals if they're in stock. I'll put a link for that in my description as well so that you can look those up. But these are the exact size of all of the rectangles on my paper, and you can fit 8 on one 9 by 12 sheet of paper. Make sure you check out the other 7 videos so that you can do all 8 landscapes on your paper.
This video I'm starting a little bit different than my last one. I'm not going to be wetting down the entire rectangle with clean water first, and I'm just going to be using mainly one color, which I'm using my indigo, and I'm going to start out by laying down a wash of this with, this is a size round or size 6 round brush. Use any brush that you feel comfortable with. And then I'm just using some water to spread that color down, and I want the darkest part to be at the top. And I'm picking an area about a third to halfway down of where my horizon line will be. And then I'm just going to keep adding in some of that indigo just to darken up the top, and then pulling that color down, and then using a wet brush to just kind of pull that down. All right, so I want to do the trees in the background. So while that is still wet, I'm going to take my dagger striper with my same color of indigo, and I'm just going to put some trees in with that dagger striper in the background, and I want that to be fuzzy. So I'm doing that right into the wet, and I'm just going to do a few across that edge and then stop at my horizon line that I've created. And we don't have to be super detailed with this because I just want this to be a fuzzy background. I'm just going to do a few on the left side and then a couple over here on the right. And if you've watched some of my other landscape videos in this series, I've done this style of tree several times now. So you can get a lot of practice making these type of evergreen or fir trees. And I really do like using a dagger striper for this, but you can certainly just use a smaller round brush. All right, so before I do my trees that are in front, I'm going to dry this layer so that everything in front of it doesn't bleed into that background. And if you don't have a dryer, you could use a hair dryer. I'm using just a heat tool. I've used this in several of the other videos just to dry my layers so that I don't bleed into my first layer. So continuing on with my dagger striper brush, I'm going to do some trees in the foreground, and I'm going to have the trunk come down almost to the bottom, but not quite. And then using my same indigo color, I'm going to do the trees over top of my background. And since I let that dry, it's not bleeding in. And I'm using that brush on its side, kind of turned at an angle, and I'm just dabbing down at different pressures to make different thicknesses of branches. And I want to leave some white so that it gives the illusion of snow on my branches, and just kind of angle down toward the bottom. And we will be kind of blending that in at the bottom just to give kind of a shadow area afterwards. I'm going to put another tree over on the right hand side, just going over my background again and coming down and just dabbing with the side of that dagger brush, and then coming down into the snow. Then I'll do another smaller one just kind of off to the side of that one. Really any combination of trees you want. Personally, I like to do odd numbers. I feel like it's more pleasing to the eye than trying to do even on each side. And then I'm going to go back to my round 6 with some clean water. I'm just going to kind of blend out that bottom just to give some little shadowy areas to give the snow. And then I'll just take that brush with a tiny bit of indigo water down, very diluted, and just kind of brushing across there to give some shadow effects. And I'm going to dry that. And now I want to add in some snow after this step. So for this next step, I'm going to be using some Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof Wipe, and I'm using a small round brush. It's a size 1, and I just want to add some snow to the tops of those branches. So just adding some small little dabs at the tops of where I put those branches, just to give a little snowy look to that. And this is totally optional. You don't have to do this if you don't have bleed proof white. You could also use some white gouache, or if you have a very opaque white watercolor, sometimes that might work. I'm going to mostly focus on the top part of that tree just because I do have the white paper showing through on the bottom half of the tree where it wasn't over top of the background. So don't want to get too much on there, but just enough to give the illusion that snow is on those branches of those trees. And I'm just doing the trees that are in the foreground, not the ones that are fuzzy in the background. And I want to add some little snowflakes kind of falling down. So I'm just going to get some of that white on my brush and just tap that with my finger just to give some like snowflakes coming down. And if you don't get as many in some places as you would like, you can just dab little dots in there to add a few more here and there. Thanks for watching my video. I do have 7 other mini landscapes in this series. If you want to check them out, you can subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming tutorials. And you can follow me on Instagram, Mrs. Hand Painted, and see all of my work.